Hi, welcome to the garden again. And today's a special day. I was out getting some new seeds to plant to make new grids. So I'm going to show you what I got. I went to the rock shop, which is what I told you I was going to be doing yesterday. To the rock shop. And I have 13 or 14 grids to build. And I'm going to take these piles of stones and make them into a grid. And I have a finished grid behind me, which is going out tomorrow. Take those stones and I recreate them into this. And all of these have a meaning, and it will be, I explain all it and the numbers and everything to the owner of the grid. So before I can use the stones, I have to cleanse the stones, which is what I've invited you to do with me today. We're going to do it a couple ways. Now, the stones that are out and exposed and open, they're usually sold as one-of-a-kinds. And there's everything from bloodstone to agates to, these are poppy jaspers, some jaspers. This is this is chrysocolite, which I went in to buy specifically because of the energy that will be in that grid. This is going to be the center of a grid, and it's jasper penda. This is pretty. This is a blue aventurine. These are in bags because they're blue opals. Oh, and I also managed to find some peridot, which someone had asked me about, and they're going to have some peridot on their grid. But we're going to cleanse these two ways. The first way we're going to cleanse it is I'm going to smudge the ones that aren't in bags. And smudging means taking a stick like this, getting it to burn, which doesn't take long. It's sage. This happens to be a white sage. And I'm cleansing these stones. I'm going to run it over everybody, but I'm going to do another thing for the ones that are in plastic bags because I can't get the stones. Well, I could take all the stones out of the bags, but my experience with that is I get them confused and they get lost and they wander. And what I'm doing after I cleanse them, I know what purpose I want for them. I wrote that down when I was in the store. So you can see the ones that are unbagged pretty plainly, and I'll go through the ones that are bagged. This one is not on top. He's just have to sit on top so you can see him because he's clear. That's really all the smoke it takes to say, hey, cleanse this up. Another kind of smoking, another sort of smudging technique is Palo Santo. Palo Santo is actually a stick of wood that comes from sacred trees in Central and South America. And the trees fall down, the Palo Santo tree falls down, and then they let it dry out, and then they chop it into pieces of wood. And it also smokes. Quite honestly, I like the fragrance of a Palo Santo a little bit better than the sage because the sage always makes me think I should have turkey. Anyway, so that's the smudging part. Now, what do we do about the bags of this? This is tumbled. It's tumbled yellow aventurine. This is tumbled pink opal. And you can't really see how pink some of them are, but they're very, very pretty. This is some more of the smoky citrine that I showed you the other day, and it's beautiful. It's clear. It's much clearer than smoky quartz ever would think about being. This is raw malachite. Obviously, I need some blues and some greens in this work. These are Brazil points. You can see them. They look like little feathers. They're white on the bottom and blue on the top. I have somebody who's got picked a beautiful crystal set up for that. There's the rest of my little peridot wandering. I got peridot from Arizona and from Afghanistan. This is citrine raw, not tumbled or anything. It's just what it is. This is citrine tumbled, littler ones. And this is citrine even a little bit smaller. I have a lot of yellows I have to work into these grids. This is my jelly beans. These are fluorites. You can see there's like from a light green up here to a dark, dark purple and all kinds of things in between. That's why I like fluorites. They're wonderful colors. This is blue adventurine, and I have a grid that needs a circle kind of blue stones in it. So that's where that's going to go. So now what do I do? Oh, blue tiger's eye. And it does not show well on camera, but those are gorgeous little stones. I got some angelite, which when in researching angelite was found in 1977. And so there's not like a whole lot of myths and legends behind angelite, except that it's a pretty blue. And you'll see things are like in 3s and 3s, 6s. There's 6s, 8s, 4s, 3s. This is obviously the center of a grid that is going to go out into 4 directions. This is pretty. I'd never seen it before. It's called Cherry Fire. And it's just got the most incredible streaks and wonderful colors in it. Oh, and this is something I found for a friend. She said she wanted a piece of bumblebee jasper, and this was just sitting there by the cash register. And I said, oh yeah, throw that in the bag too. And then all of these little buttons are going to be the centers of grids. So that's what I was up to yesterday. So we're going to get back to the answer to the question. How do you clean? Oh, tiger iron. This is a form of iron, but it's got tiger stripes. It's really cool. How do you clean grit? How do you get these stones sort of wiped out and cleaned when they're in the baggies? Well, there's a prayer I was introduced to a while ago. It's called the Violet Flame. And what you're doing is this, you're calling in divine beings that charge with the violet ray, the ray of transmutation. Different rays are different in God's universe. The blue ray is protection. Green ray is healing. These are altered with whatever you wish. To make you more comfortable to your belief systems. But this one is based on a Catholic prayer. It talks about a saint. And it's got 2 of them on these pages. Now, if you want a copy of this violet flame, I have violet flame for yourself, violet flame for your home, tubulite, which is a way to secure yourself, wall of the blue flame, which is another way you can work with this, violet flame for a location, violet flame for school, violet flame for public and private places. Well, most of us don't go into too many public places, but what you're doing is you're asking Archangel Zadkiel, the Ascended Master Saint Germain, and a bunch of other entities and angels to come in with the violet rays and blaze, blaze, blaze throughout your house. To, in other words, come through and suck up the negative energy, and you ask them to sweep it up to heaven. And the way I've always kind of imaged this, and I'm sure it's sacrilegious as hell, but is they're like taken up to the giant laundromat in the universal white light. And they are going to purify the energy, get rid of the negativity, and then they bring the energy back to you. So you're not just draining your place of energy. You get the energy back, but clean. So it's sort of a house cleaning for energetic and things that are going on around you. And like I said, if you want a copy of this, you need to go to down below, crystaldirections.nancyjean@gmail.com. Ask me for it, and I will send you that. You need to do it through the email. Do not do it through the comment section, because I can't attach to the comment section. And I'm not typing this booger out. This thing's like 2 solid pages of text. I'm not typing that every day, all day long. I don't type that well. So If you decide this is something you want to have in your arsenal, I have used this on locations where people had negative energy come in. When I worked in the vintage store, we would get attachments to things like old radios that would turn themselves on even if they weren't plugged in. We'd violet flame the place and it would go. I mean, these guys are great. This is a great prayer. It's very comforting. I've given it to a lot of people to help them through when they feel like something dark is just around them. This lightens the place up. So we're going to do it right now for all these crystals, because my crystal shop's a wonderful place, but I don't know where all these crystals have been. Sort of like bad dates. Anyway, and I'm going to do it for me in my home, because these are in my home. But like I said, they have schools, they have businesses, and it's basically the same prayer, but a little bit, the wording's a little bit different. And it's preferably if you do this out loud. Now you can do it just quietly somewhere if you don't want to scream this out in a public place, but I always say it out loud, and I've used it for years, and I really, really like it. So, violet flame for the home. I call upon the archangels Zadkiel, Ascended Master Saint Germain, Arcturus, Diana, and Victoria, and all the other angels on the violet ray. Blaze, blaze, blaze the violet flame in, through, and around this entire home, property, and vehicles. Violet flame any and all low, discordant energies that have been absorbed in this house, property, vehicles, every nook, every cranny, every crystal, every stone, every piece of wood, every animal, every sheet, every pillowcase, every blanket, every pillow, every piece of fabric, everything in the property. Transmute any and all low, misguided energies. Transmute the cause, the core, the effect, the record, the memory, known and unknown, past, present, and future. Send this discordant, misguided energy back to the original source of all that there is, where it can be repolarized and regenerated back into the original Christed white light state. When that has been completed, then return the white light back to this property. And now I'm picturing them literally like little robotic vacuum cleaners, but with wings, going around the house, circling around, circling around, circling around, gathering up all that energy, swooping it up, and then crashing it back down here, the good white light. And then when I feel like that's happened, I said, it is complete. That's it. All these little baggies are good to go now. Now, after I build a grid, and I've worked with the crystals for a while, and I've moved them around, I will once again sage them and say prayer over them before I ship them out to the owners. I want the grids to go to the owners sort of as much of a blank canvas as I can. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the grid process, if you want a grid, you can contact me. The best way to do it is through the email. I will send you my price list on what I do. I make big, giant grids like the one you see. I make smaller little grids called crystal compasses that are for a specific purpose, like that you can carry around with you, like Crystal Cash, Art of the Heart, Body and Soul. Those bags are to help you with a specific small thing, or you can put them in the drawer of your office if you want to have crystals with you there, or in your car, or in your purse, just to carry around with you for protection. When someone gets a crystal grid or a crystal compass, it requires a reading that I do here. I use tarot, and I use sacred geometry activation cards. You pick a form, and the one you saw earlier was compassion. It's actually a colored grid that is based on sacred geometry, numbers, and colors, and I recreate that, but in stone. And then you can have your own group of stones that aim you in that direction. We go through a whole thing about picking out which card is best for you. And I'm working on, I have 13 of them now to put together. I had to wait, I had to get a rebreather because I found out my epoxy was making me sick. So now that I have my rebreather, I'm back into doing the stones, and I will be shipping them out again. If you have any questions about it, you can, like I said, email me. I'll send you the price list. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But with a full grid, you get a reading, you get the choosing the sacred geometry, you get a little explanation on that subject, and then obviously you get the grid mailed to you. So if that interests you, like I said, email me below. If you want the violet flame, it's really a very powerful prayer for cleansing. Your other options are what I showed you. Something like sage or Palo Santo to smudge out of place. Smudging, if you do smudging, you really need to do smudging. These are I specifically smudging these stones. If I was to, I just cleaned my whole house with that prayer. If I wanted to smudge the house, I'd have to go into every corner, open every cabinet, go underneath every cabinet, go into the corner of each one of the closets, go in the corner of the laundry room, everywhere in the house. And so smudging can take a bit of time, but it's well worth it. And I talked to a woman this week that I'm building a grid for, and she said on New Year's, she ran around, she smudged her house. You'd have thought she was having a barbecue in her living room. She opened all the doors and windows and blew out all the energy of 2020 out of her house. And that's another thing you can do with smudging, kind of make it a thing. But it is important to cleanse, and it's important to be aware of the energy that's around you. And that's why I don't want to send off anything that hasn't been treated, cleansed, or otherwise handled. And my happy people will be getting their, I got some pretty blue opals. It's not so good in the bag. Pretty blue opals. That's some really nice, they had some really lovely crystals at the store yesterday. Oh, I like these guys. I need to make some swirly sort of forms, and it's hard to make swirly out of a hard crystal. This is malachite. It's a bead that's shaped for a necklace, but they make them in arcs, and so that helps me get my swirlies when I need to put the swirlies in there. Anyway, someone asked me if I could maybe build a grid. Well, I built one. I built actually a couple of them on camera. If you're interested in something like that, let me know. If you're interested in more of the things I know about now, my crystal of the day today is all of these, and that their energies will be merged and they will come together and create a pattern that expresses the desires of the person who's doing it. What happens in the sacred geometry cards? Each form of sacred geometry has a different frequency, and you get a definition of what that frequency is, and it can be everything from the earth to health to compassion to change, transition. There's a lot of different things that can go into the energy, and it's based on what you want. And it's kind of amazing because after we talk and do a reading and things, and we lay out the card, I spread the cards out, and there's a way we work to randomly pick a card for you. People go, God, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking and I wanted to have happen. We have very few surprises. I had somebody who got Earth recently. I think they're a little surprised because they thought it was, they're not known for being grounded. But anyway, they said, maybe it's exactly what I need, and they're probably true. Anyway, we will see, and we will have a lot of fun building these. I will periodically, in my shows, post pictures of the grids as I finish them, so you can kind of see how this mass of color and form becomes something that is cohesive and understandable. And like I said, if you want the violet flame, just put violet flame in the subject matter, and as long as your email's there, I can just fire it back. If you want to make a nice comment, that's lovely. I believe Thursday night, Andrea and I are going to reveal who won her reading, her Valentine reading for Valentine's Day, and I'm going to reveal who won the 3 little boxes of crystals from me. And you have to go to Andrea's site and watch that show or comment underneath it. And the little box, there's 3 of these little boxes. They're going to have little crystals in them. See? They work really well for this if I can get them open. No one will ever break into this box, let me tell you. Okay, here. Oh, I know, I'll show you this one. This is, see, the bumblebee jasper just fits in there. 2 smaller stones will fit in here. And what we're going to do for you, for the people who get this, is if you want the box for yourself, we'll do a reading on what would be best for you to have. If you want to give it to a friend, we'll do a reading on the friend and see which crystals they need. And that's kind of it for the day, guys. Tomorrow's Martin Luther King's birthday, but I do intend to be on in the evening again. And I've just had some delightful readings. I'm really enjoying meeting you. If you don't want a grid and you don't want a compass, I still do readings. I do life soul energy readings for people with tarot primarily. So if you're interested in just a reading and want to see how I do it, those are $35. Not a big deal. But that's where I started, was reading, and then the readings morphed into working energy with people, and then I found crystals, and I've spent the last few years working with crystals. So, like I said, if you want Violet Flame, send me an email at thecrystaldirections.nancyjean@gmail.com. If you have any queries about the other stuff, that's how you get a hold of me. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. It really helps me because I'm a little baby channel. I'm a little bitty baby channel. And I have different information all the time. I don't do a thing. One thing only. I do lots of things. So, excuse me. I'm going to cut this off so you don't have to watch me hack. You have a good day.